It's Thursday, and I think it's time to have some fun. I could have some really serious podcasts for you, but this is not the day. So, you're listening to Gene. This is Dumbasses Talking Politics. So, I've decided I'm going to make some changes to the podcast. I want to make this more consistent, which means there's something you can listen to. So I did it last week with Bill de Blasio's dropping of the groundhog that killed the groundhog, and it was a lot of fun. I couldn't stop laughing, and I'm pretty much there today. I can't stop laughing. So I've decided that I'm going to do something called a flash podcast. These flash podcasts are going to be between, 5-6 minutes. They could be 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, depending on what I'm thinking of this time. But today is going to be the flash podcast. I actually have a real podcast ready for you that will almost be ready. But I'm going to have a real podcast tomorrow where I'm talking for 20, 30 minutes, or 30, 40 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. But today I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop. I didn't want you to think I was forgetting about you, for the whole 20 people that listen to this stuff. But I think this will be really fun tonight. So here it is, a flash podcast. And by the way, you're going to get animations. You're going to get all the fun stuff. This will probably not be published on my site, just like de Blasio's was, though I'm going to publish it. So let's talk about some stupid crap. And there's only 2 stories I'm going to talk about. The first one, what a shock. AOC is involved. And though it is political, it's really not political. It's so stupid. Hey, listen to this. All I have to do, it's going to be another minute, which will increase the time of my podcast. Have fun.
So did you see Game of Thrones last
I
night?
did. I'm sad. I'm disappointed about it.
I was just really meh.
I feel like we were getting so close to having this ending with just women running the world.
Exactly.
And then
one
the
goes
last
crazy
2 episodes,
right.
it's like, oh, they're too emotional.
Yeah, exactly. Can't do
The
that.
end. It's like, oh, this was written by
So
men.
I was even willing at the end to make a quick allegiance shift when Danny went nuts.
Right.
So I was over to Sansa.
Yeah.
I was like Team
Yes.
Sansa. I will redo my shirts.
Totally.
The whole thing.
Totally.
And yet Sansa, who already is Queen of the North, thank you very much.
Right.
She walks away saying, and I'll still be Queen of the North.
I know. I was
Come on,
disappointed.
Sansa, go for the big ones.
I was disappointed. We need to get some feminist analysis up in HBO.
Boy, they need some help on this.
They do.
I can't lie, this kills me. I could not stop laughing when I first heard this whole thing. They're talking, these Elizabeth Warren and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are talking about the Game of Thrones from the woke perspective. Absolutely incredible. The stupidity in that room could have lit New York City. It was so bad. And apparently, AOC is going to endorse Elizabeth Warren, who, by the way, probably has about, 1% of the polling. I mean, she's terrible. They're both terrible. First off, these people are talking about a fantasy series written by a white guy. Okay, who, by the way, is very liberal. This woman, I can't even conceive of how bad this whole thing was. How they could actually go on YouTube and post something like this. Here's a newsflash with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones ended exactly the way it was meant to end. A woman with good intention, a person. It's not even a woman. It could be a person. Stalin did this. A person of good intention, who had good thoughts, who had good ideas, was corrupted by power. That's Daenerys. And she ended up killing everyone. And the season ended, spoiler alert, the season ended where it ended up being bureaucracy that took over everything to fix the city. It was actually quite brilliant if you think about it. But all these broads can think about, I don't know, that's misogynistic, fine, whatever. But all these broads could think about was, oh, well, why weren't women put in charge? Sansa was in charge. She was in charge of the North Kingdom. She didn't want it. Well, the question was, why didn't they question why wasn't Jon the king of the Six Kingdoms? He wasn't in charge of the Six Kingdoms because he didn't want it. It was a brilliant ending of the story. But all these gals can think about is how bad it was because a woman didn't control. They missed the entire point of the story. And it's just, it's just listening to them. And if I have to hear one more like from AOC and no one comments about it, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. Elizabeth Warren, who pretended to be an Indian to get into Harvard Law School, and AOC, who her first full-time job is in the Congress. It's so dumb. I just can't stand it. But you know something? That's not even the dumbest story of the day. The dumbest story of the day. This is absolutely awesome. So there was a guy over in, let me look this up here. And by the way, when we do flash podcasts, I'm not going to stop it. From Washington State, there's a frickin' shock. Washington State, a 13-time felon decided that he was going to put a gun in his pants in the front of his pants, just the regular pockets in his pants, not his back, and he was going to carry this gun for whatever reason. You'll find out the reason why in a few minutes. He decided to sit down with his girlfriend, and the gun went off. He didn't put the safety on. He didn't unload the weapon. He just sat down, the gun went off, and blew off his balls. Okay, so needless to say, the girlfriend's flipping out. She drives him to the hospital. He gets to the hospital, and the surgeons decide, okay, they're going to try and fix him. Which, by the way, bad decision. Don't fix him. Just sew up his sack and let him have no balls, because this is a human being who should not be procreating. He should not have any kids. He should not be breeding. Let him go. So as they're actually fixing him, we find out why he was carrying a gun in his front pocket of his pants. Out of his anus fell a baggie of methamphetamine and a baggie of pot. Can you imagine? The doctor surprised. I could never be a doctor, simply because if I'm operating in that thing, that portion of the body is going to relax to the point that it's actually going to release this crap. So, needless to say, he was arrested. This guy was Cameron Jeffrey Wilson. He's 27 years old. I just couldn't believe the story, and I think the New York Post couldn't believe it either, because this article was literally 7 paragraphs and took up half a web page. It's absolutely awesome. So, hey, welcome to our second Flash podcast. Tomorrow I'm going to give you something far more. If you want to read what I'm thinking, go to www.dumbassestalkingpolitics.com. The podcast is available on iTunes, Podbean, and Pod Addict. I hope you folks have a great night. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.